Hello, how's it going? Okay, so this video today, what we're going to be talking about is getting your baby off of a nipple shield. First thing I want to say is I'm so proud of you for actually taking the time to watch this video and ask questions about getting your baby off the nipple shield, because there's a lot of people that get attached to them and they feel it's too difficult to get off of the nipple shield, so they end up staying on for long periods of time, and that's how they gain these false beliefs that nipple shields are bad, because eventually your milk supply can decrease and everything and so forth. Okay, so I personally love the Medela nipple shield. So this one, if you see here, it's got like the nose, where the nose goes. This is actually a 16, so it's pretty small. Not a lot of people use a 16 millimeter, but it is a fantastic tool. Like, I can't say that enough. I personally had my own experience with the nipple shield with my son because he had a really bad lip and posterior tongue tie, like a stage 3, almost stage 4, which 4 is the worst. And his lip tie was pretty bad. And the only way I could breastfeed without bleeding, cracked, excruciating painful nipples is with the nipple shield. So I love them. It was an absolute lifesaver. And I don't know if you've had some of those issues too, or if you were using it to kind of invert your nipples and everything, but in the end, it is a tool and a tool only. It is not for long time use. It is only for temporary use to get your baby used to, you know, a suck swallow pattern and help heal some of your and help give a barrier until you can figure out what the root cause of the pain is and help your nipples heal a little bit, kind of just give you a little barrier. Can also help with flat or everted nipples, just to kind of protrude them a little bit. And also preterm infants, I love them for preterm infants. Any infant usually like less than 37 weeks, even less than 38, some of the late pretermers, nipple shields can be great because this piece of the silicone helps to keep them on the breast, and it creates that negative pressure seal, like that vacuum, and it creates it really well until they can like grow a little bit and learn how to stay, maintain that latch while they take pauses to breathe and everything. So overall, I love them. However, it can be super tricky to get them off the nipple shield. Okay, so the number one thing that you're gonna focus on is still, it's gonna be a staged process, okay? So I like to think of nipple shields like training wheels on a bike, okay? If you take your kids' training wheels off the bike, guess what? They're probably gonna fall again. They're not gonna hop on that bike right away, get that balance and just start going down. You might, and there's always gonna be those outliers, those rare circumstances where you can take it off and the baby gets right on and there's no problem. If that's you and your baby, fantastic. But at least you can educate yourself and know about kind of these stages and what to do if your baby isn't one of those ones that just pops right off and gets on the breast and no problem, or that kid that gets on the bike with no training wheels and just goes for it. Like, that was my older son Carter. Like, as soon as he tried once and he got it. My other kids, definitely not. So this nipple shield is like training wheels, okay? You are going to probably have to keep it on for a little bit and then maybe take one training wheel off, so keep it on for a little bit, and then you're gonna take the baby off and then try to put him back on. So there's kind of multiple stages. So it is a learning process. You have to remember, your baby got used to breastfeeding with this. Remember, it's more structured and firm, and if you feel your breasts and your nipples, they are not. Like, most people have pretty soft breasts. Like, I know if your milk's kind of all towards the front or you're engorged, they're gonna be a little harder, but most people's breasts don't feel this structured as a nipple shield. So it's gonna be a learning curve. They're gonna feel it, everything's gonna feel differently in their mouth because it's gonna take up their whole mouth, like the breast tissue. So what I want you to do for the first stage is you are going to still nurse with the nipple shield, okay? So if your nipple shield's on, I like to go sideways. Okay, so if your nipple shield's on and you have baby on, you're gonna go and nurse for about 5 minutes, okay? Have the let down, let your baby get in the pattern, and then what I'm gonna have you do is you're gonna try and slip it out real quick and try and relatch your baby right after you pull it out. Make sure those lips are flanged, top and bottom, okay? And kind of fix it. Sometimes the nipple shield, it's easier to do, but just double check, make sure that upper lip is flipped up and then that lower lip is flipped down. If not, reach into the notch of the chin real quick, pull it down for a second, and pop that lower lip out. So that's the trick. So that's like the first stage of getting baby off the nipple shield, is I don't want you to go cold turkey. I just want you to keep it on for a few minutes until like they're in the pattern and they're like, they got the letdown, the milk is flowing, they're relaxed, and then you try and trick them real quick. You try and slip it out. It's not super easy to slip out either, but just do your best and try and just pull it out and relatch your baby and see if they realize it. Some babies can literally be like, they're so like zoned out and kind of getting all this milk that they don't really care and they'll keep going. But then other babies are like, whoa. I don't like that. I don't like that. Okay, so try that first, okay? If ultimately you did that, you tried that a couple times, like you put it back on and you try again and your baby still doesn't like it, then just wait until the next feeding, okay? This is the thing. Every single feeding with your baby, you are going to be doing this, because if you skip, then you're not going to be making as much progress. So you really need to try to do this every feeding, because you are starting a new learning process. You're starting them on this new journey of getting rid of the nipple shield, so you have to be consistent. Consistency is key. So every time you're going to do this, because eventually, yes, they're gonna cry, they're gonna fuss a little bit, because they're not gonna like it. It's just like a kid you're taking the training wheels off. They're gonna get frustrated because they're like, I can't do this, like I need my training wheels. And then the baby's kind of like, I need the nipple shield. And then you're like, no, you don't. I know you can do this, and we're gonna do it together, and it's gonna be a process. Okay, all right, so say you did that and you've done that a couple times and you were able to put it on for the first few minutes and then get your baby and switch. Good. Okay. Once they do that and you can switch, the next feeding, I want you to just not even use this. This is like stage 2, is you're not going to use this at all. You're going to just get baby in a really good position, whatever you feel is for the deepest latch. I like football holds for the deepest latch. For most women, if you have smaller breasts, then like kind of laid back nursing, so they get all that gravity and try and keep their jaw nice and wide and open. Okay, so don't use the nipple shield for the second stage, and you're literally just gonna try and latch them. Now you wanna remember to sandwich your breasts, okay? You wanna get a good piece and go down, up, and over the nipple, asymmetrical latch. So you want your nipple pointing towards the roof of their mouth so they get all that under breast tissue like this. Okay, you don't want the nipple going in towards the middle anymore. You want to sandwich your breast and point your nipple up. I love it's called the Flipple Technique, and it's literally when I'm wearing a black tank top, so it's kind of hard to see. But if you have baby right here, what you're gonna do with the opposite hand is you're gonna grab your breast and take your thumb and pull back, and it kind of flips your nipple backwards. Then you get baby up and over with that wide mouth, then you flip your nipple right in towards the roof of their mouth. So they get all of that under breast tissue. Okay, and then again, make sure the lips are flanged out, top and bottom. And your baby's probably not gonna like this the first few times because they've gotten used to the nipple shield. But as soon as you can get a letdown and the milk starts flowing, things should be a little easier for them, okay? And then again, the second stage, you're gonna do this with every feeding. If your baby gets ultimately too frustrated, then kind of just go back. You might have to go back for the nipple shield, but maybe don't keep it on as long next time. Maybe just keep it on for like a minute or two and then slip it off and get them on. So it's going to be a process. It is a little tricky. Just take some deep breaths. Know that it is possible. I did this with my son. I think on average, this was back in 2015, guys. I'm pretty sure it took about 4 to 5 days. Okay, so just keep in mind, maybe 4 days to 7 days, maybe a week. Okay, just keep doing it. And then every feed, think about how many times they feed during the day. It's going to be a lot. So 100% possible to get your baby off a nipple shield. If you have any other questions, or if you just need some motivation and some cheerleading and some support, reach out to me. I will be your #1 cheerleader, and I know you can do it. I know your baby can do it. If there is some like pain issues or anything, once you get your baby latch and you know it's the deepest latch and it's asymmetrical and you don't think there's any other issues, but now you're having pain and that's why you were originally using the nipple shield, you know, I have that. I'm gonna be finishing off my 3-part series for lip and tongue ties, that's what happened with my son. That's why originally I started to try and get him off the nipple shield, because I knew it was like a tool. I only had it for like a week and I was like, I can't use this long term. And it was like toe curling pain, and that's why my nipples were like bleeding, cracked. They were horrible, and it was terrible because I didn't know what the root cause of the pain issue was originally. So if you finally get your baby off and you feel like there's still like a pain issue, no matter how deep the latch, you know, no matter what you do, really think there could be a deep posterior tongue tie that's embedded in the mucosa that you need to get fixed. And so in my video series, I go over some invasive and non-invasive ways that you can get that fixed and what to watch out for. But ultimately, within a week maximum, I think you should be able to get your baby off the nipple shield. So just remember, it's gonna feel a lot different in their mouth, all of that soft breast tissue compared to that more structured nipple shield. And they're just gonna need a little bit more, just a little bit more patience. I do say to try and latch them earlier than probably you would be, then letting them wake up from a feed. Try and like gently wake them, or if you know it's been like, you know, nearing on the 3 hours, to try and latch them and do all this before they're like in that hangry mode where they're like, I'm starving, I need it now, and they're so frustrated already that they're not gonna wanna latch and do all of this, this new practicing without the nipple shield. So that's what I would recommend. Okay, so stage 1 is you are going to first latch with the nipple shield and then pull it off around, you know, 3 to 5 minutes after a letdown, and keep trying to do that. And then if your baby does that a couple times, then I want you the next couple feeding, like the next feedings after, is to just try and get your baby on the bare breast without the nipple shield. Just sandwich your breast, make sure that nice asymmetrical latch, that nipple pointing towards the top. And number 3, definitely try and latch your baby before they are like in that hangry mode, so a little bit earlier, so they're nice, calm, relaxed, like, hey, I'm gonna latch and this is gonna be a smooth process. Okay, have good support on this. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't get your baby off the nipple shield, because they are 100% wrong. I speak for myself. I got my son finally off the nipple shields once we got his lip and tongue tie fixed, and he nursed for 13 months. And it was amazing. It was amazing. It was a little tricky to get him off the nipple shield, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm here for you. I'm letting you know it's 100% possible, and you're gonna do it. And if you have any other questions, reach out to me. I will gladly answer any other questions that you have that I didn't go over. Oh, wait, one more thing. I don't know if anybody told you in the hospital or whoever gave you the nipple shields that if you are using nipple shields, you do want to make sure you are pumping for extra stimulation, because that extra piece of plastic, the baby's mouth is not directly touching the nipple. So it doesn't do direct nipple stimulation for those proper hormones, and the saliva going into, saliva is much like directly touching the nipple to stimulate and send those hormone levels. So your supply can slowly decrease. You might not see it right away, because in the beginning, if you know this is you're newer, like in the first month or so breastfeeding your baby, your supply is usually always going to be good, and then you'll start to see it slow or tank. And if you are using a nipple shield, I do recommend you pump for at least 20 to 30 minutes after every feeding. I know this sounds like a lot, but you do want to keep stimulating as much as possible to keep your supply up. Now, you might not get a lot after pumping, and that's okay. I'm not worried about how much you're getting. Just start storing that in the freezer for your baby for another time, but I'm more focused on the stimulation. So when they're with the nipple shield, they're not doing direct nipple stimulation. So that whole time they're feeding, say an hour, the percentage of stimulation that your body's actually getting is probably half. So you want to make up that other half by pumping for like 20 to 30 minutes, okay? So if nobody told you that, that is critical, is super critical when you're using nipple shields, is you want to be pumping after every single time you're using the nipple shield. Again, I know it sounds like a lot. I don't like pumping. I did it for all 3 kids through night shift and nursing 12-hour shifts and whatever. It's not fun, but it's needed. And think of it, it's a temporary solution. It's just temporary, and the main goal is getting your baby off the nipple shield and on direct breast. Then you won't have to pump, you won't have to use a nipple shield. It will be so much easier to nurse in public and all the glorious things that come with breastfeeding. So that's another thing that you want to make sure is that you are absolutely pumping after every session you're using the nipple shields. If you can't do 20-30 minutes, even if it's like 10 to 15, just something to make up that other extra half of the stimulation that your body is missing out because of the nipple shield, because of a barrier. And that's not your fault. If nobody told you this, don't get the whole mom guilt going on, because I know with the hormones, post-pregnant, you know, post-delivery and everything, don't worry, you know the information now. My major thing that I always say is you don't know what you don't know, okay? If you didn't know, nobody told you. And that's not your fault. It's the fault of the person that gave you the nipple shield that didn't do the proper education on it. And that's whose fault it is. It's not yours, and it's not your baby's. But what I say is just take all that information in now and move forward, okay? It's totally possible to increase your supply again. I can make another video on that about power pumping and, you know, some other things that you can do to kind of get on that upswing again, but just start now. That's the best time. You didn't know the information, now you know. Now just start with the next feeding, and there you go. All right, so I think that's all my tips about getting your baby off the nipple shield. Again, it's 100% possible. And if you notice there's some issues with pain or anything after why you can't get your baby on, then definitely reach out to me, because there could be some other underlying root cause of the pain issue once you get your baby off the nipple shield. And if you have flat or inverted nipples and you've been really attached to this nipple shield and your baby has, still 100% possible to get your baby on. Like I like to say, your nipples are an accessory. They are not needed to breastfeed. They literally do nothing. It is breastfeeding, not nipple feeding. So if you can get a sandwich and a good amount of breast tissue into your baby's mouth, then they're gonna breastfeed beautifully. They get that negative pressure seal suction, and they suction all that breast tissue, and they pull correctly. That's good. The nipple literally only hits the roof of the mouth, and the roof of their mouth has that suck reflex, and that's all it helps them do, is to initially suck. But in the end, you don't need a nipple. So for my mamas that have flat or inverted nipples, I kind of had flat ones, so I was really nervous about this too. Don't worry. Don't worry, it's 100% possible. I'm here for you. You're gonna do it. I'm so proud of you for taking this initiative to get your baby off the nipple shield, so you know that it is a tool, it is not long-term use. Don't get attached to it, and you're gonna do a fantastic job. So I hope you all have a wonderful afternoon. I'm gonna get going, and I'm gonna make some more video content. I'm so excited. All right, you guys have a good day.